I think I need to break up with my boyfriend of 8 years. Wow. Okay, where to begin? We've been dating for 8 years. We met in high school and have been together ever since. We've grown and changed with each other, miraculously, and our relationship has been amazing. We were always communicative to each other, always doted on one another, have inside jokes that are years long, and have become so comfortable with who we are as a couple. Our relationship, by all means, is a wonderful one. But I guess I wouldn't be posting here if it was so wonderful, would I? As we've entered into adulthood, I started asking the bigger questions that I realized I wasn't really getting answers on. He's been against having kids, but I want kids. My biggest advice I received was to wait for his real answer when we were older, because I asked these questions after dating for 4 years. I asked him what he wanted to do with his future, where he saw himself career-wise, and what he was feeling about who he was as a person. If he was changing and growing. To be honest, whenever we speak about these things, I always feel like it gets really quiet, he becomes shorter with his words. A lot of I don't knows. After asking questions many times, I get some answers once he's thought about it. But this scenario has always been regular for us. I'm asking bigger questions, trying to get feedback, and he gives little answers and asks to think about them. But we have always moved along. Next day, next season, we're really happy with each other. We cuddle and watch Netflix TV shows, go to the ice rink, having romantic dinners, and tell each other how much we adore one another. But those questions start to bother me. Why doesn't he want to answer them? Why doesn't he ask those about me? Is it necessarily bad that he doesn't want to ask? I mean, we're only in our 20s, but we've been dating for 8 years. The toss and turn was agonizing. I felt like I was waiting for an answer for a question I asked years ago, regardless of the timeline. I felt more and more pressure to have them answered. Because we've been talking about marriage, when I would forget that those questions were so important to me, everything was hunky-dory. We'd talk about where we would live, the animals we would have, and name them, the kinds of TV shows we'd watch on a weekly basis. I pushed the issues I had been feeling in my core back inside, because I figured, if I'm a patient girlfriend, a loving one, a supportive one, our relationship will get better. How long we've stayed together is testament to our ability to grow together. We've done it this long, why wouldn't it continue happening? But it hasn't. It really hasn't, guys. This last weekend, something snapped. We were looking for places to live. We had 3 appointments. I was looking around the apartment, looking at the kitchen, looking at our bedroom. When we kissed each other goodbye after a post-appointment cuddle, nap, and I went back home. I burst out crying in the car. I was sobbing. When I got home, I called my mom. She came over. I was broken. Something died. Something straight up died. I don't know what's going on. I think I need to break up with him. I don't think this is the kind of change that I can ask of him. I don't think asking him to change is fair. It's not that I haven't been patient. I have. He has been giving me his answer to all my questions. I just haven't been happy with what they are. The silence, the skirting around the topic, the I don't knows. I thought we could grow through any scenario, but moving in together put it all into perspective for me. I'm not ready to move in with this guy. Earlier in the year, he told me he was all right with kids, with having them too. After that conversation, such a huge flood of relief hit me that I think spurred this season of ignorance. He answered my big question, so I was happy. But the reality is setting in. Does he actually mean that? Did he say that to appease my asking? He has told me that I'm the best thing to happen to him, that he loves me, and that I inspire him to be a better person, and that he's happy he's with me, because he wouldn't know how to date anyone else at this point since we've been together for so long. I wish he had the motivation and drive and a goal for himself. I wish he thought about his future. I wish he was more excited about life, more positive about life. I wish he wasn't so angry at people and himself. I wish he approached his problems readily and openly. I wish he was more emotionally available. I wish I knew how to do this without destroying him, because I think it will. His family would all turn on him, I know it. We've been talking about marriage. We're looking at places to live together. And I just imploded. I imploded. My gut is telling me to do this, and it's never been wrong. But how? How on earth do I do this? My boyfriend of 3 years' parents want to see my bank statements. I have been with my boyfriend for 3 years, living together for 2. My BF has always been very close to his family. They live not that far away, and he has never lived anywhere but NYC, where he was born and raised. Therefore, always had his parents close by and spends time with them regularly. Therefore, I didn't see anything odd at first about how close he is to his parents and assumed it was normal. However, since we moved in together, there were red flags regarding his parents. Some examples. There is a coin-operated laundromat half a block away from our apartment, but he insists on getting his clothes packed, carries it on a 30-minute one-way subway ride all the way to his parents to have it washed. I thought this was weird, but hey, his clothes, his time, his subway fare. He shares a bank account with his parents. His parents pore over his financials regularly, and once chewed him out over spending too much money on ordering pizza. I found this kind of odd too, but as we keep our finances separate, this didn't affect me, so I let this slide. On a camping trip with his family, a mosquito entered our tent, and I tried multiple times to slap it in between my hands. Immediately, his mom and dad barged into our tent, yelling and demanding to know why I was slapping my BF. I was utterly confused and told them that I was slapping a mosquito. In fact, the mosquito was still buzzing around the tent. My BF backed me up, but his parents thought that he was covering up for me, and since then, they have disliked and mistrusted me, with things like, when I got a promotion, they called my place of work to see if I was telling the truth about working there and my promotion. This I found utterly insane and embarrassing me at my workplace. However, my BF stood up for me again, and therefore, I didn't think it was right to dump him for his parents' insanity. Despite my BF sticking up for me and telling the truth to his parents on both these instances, they continued mistrusting me. I started not wanting to go to many of their family events after these ridiculous episodes, which my BF said he understood and never pressured me into going. I make more money than my BF, so I asked him if we could move to a better neighborhood, and I will pay a bigger portion of the rent to cover this, and he would be paying the same amount he currently pays. He got extremely upset that he couldn't pull his weight, but I told him that I don't mind paying more so that we can live in a safer area. I chalked this to how men are shamed in the media if they are seen as not good providers, blah blah, and assumed he was just insecure about it. However, when he discussed this with his parents, they accused me of hiding a source of income. No, I have a regular old boring marketing job, and being involved with unsavory activities, or that I am lying about something and hiding things. I was utterly confused. My BF doesn't believe any of their bullshit and again stood up for me. However, shit soon hit the fan. His parents are now demanding to see my bank statements to prove to them that everything is on the up and up. My BF knows that I have nothing to hide, so he said that I should just do it to shut them up so that they'd stop with the drama. However, I think that this is a huge violation of my privacy. Why should I have to justify myself to them when I have done nothing wrong? And what right do they have to the details of my finances? If I give in, what else will I be expected to do to satisfy their insanity? At the same time, it's not my BF's fault that he was born into that crazy family, and he has stood up for me every time, and I don't want to break up with him over something that he didn't do. Still, his parents are driving me up the wall and stressing me out. What should I do? Update. I read all the replies, and I had a long talk with my BF about boundaries. He listened, agreed with me, and decided to talk to his parents. I was hopeful and glad that he was going to do something about this, but things soon got much worse. He returned home a few hours later with his parents. Silly me, I was assuming that they were here to apologize or, at the very least, have an adult conversation about everything that has been going on. They accused me of trying to keep him away from them and isolate him in order to abuse and control him. I told them that I was not, and never said that he shouldn't interact with them. All I wanted was for them to respect my boundaries and stop making unreasonable demands. They said that this is what all abusers do, and that I am showing my true colors. The messed up part is that my BF was visibly affected by all this to the point of starting to agree with them.